Alright, Appendix A, Bylaws, Accreditation Council for Independent College Schools, ACI, and ACICS. Article 1, General Provisions, Definitions, Name, Board of Directors, Council Recognition, the Directors, Commissioners, Public Representative, Membership, Offices, and President, Board of Directors, Composition, Section 1, Section 2, Power and Duties, Section 3, Officers, Board and Officer, Councilors, Chair-Elect, Secretary, Treasurer, Additional Officers, Term, Section 3, Council Composition, Power to Duties, Chair and Chair-Elect, election terms, vacancy, removal, resignation, compensation, election, eligibility, election, voting procedure, assumption, off the terms, vacancy, resignation, removal, compensation. Article 5, committees. Section 1, standing committee of the council, A, committee, 2B, practice committee, C, enhancement evaluation committee, B, review committee, effectiveness committee, and Section 2, the standing committee of the board of director committee, audit committee, investment committee, and governance committee, board of ethics, other committees. Article 6, membership fees, the meeting of the day of the membership, losing membership, type of the fees, change of fees, condition of the payment, the proration of the fees, other cost assessments, annual meeting, the special meeting, the notice of the meetings of quorum, meeting of the council. Article 7, appeals process, review with the board of appeals, due process. Article 9, miscellaneous, liability, corporate seal, checking over the contract, board of the records, confidentially, indemnification, insurance, amendments, dissolution, and official year. Article 9, litigation, jurisdiction, revenue, expensive suits against our accreditation council, independent college schools, and jurisdiction exhaustion. Section 2, reimbursement, accreditation council, independent school litigation expenses, other expenses. Section 3. And Section 4, binding effect. Article 1, general provision. Definition. Section 1, the name of the corporation shall be Accreditation Council for the Independent Colleges and Schools, with the corporation referred to as the ACICS or the corporation. Section 2, the Board of the Directors of the Governance Administrative of the Affair of the Competition shall be vested with the Board of Directors, sometimes referred to here as the Board. The Board shall be constituted with provided in the Article 2. Section 3, the Council shall consist of the elected committee appointed the Commissioners. Section 4, our Accreditation Council Independent College Schools shall be handled body holding recognition for the U.S. Secretary of Education and any other appurtenance of recognition bodies direct. Section 5, director of those persons serving on the board of the directors. Section 6, the commissioner of those persons elected by their peers appointed by the council and the served designated by the council. Section 7, public representation, representative of the public and or the person with an interest in the career of the education by knowledge, experience, and youthful accreditation policy are willing to contribute to opinion, advice, expertise, and endeavors of the accreditation council, independent college and schools of the council are not employed for formerly employed within the last 3 years by the institution of the program or program for either accredited by the agency applied with the accreditation associated the member of the governing board owned shareholders, consultants, or in some of the other similar case capacity of the institution program, but they are accepted, accredited by the agency, applied with the accreditation, member of the trade association, members of the organization related with, affiliated with, associated with the agency, for a spouse or parent, child with a sibling with an individual identified in paragraph 1 or 2 or 3 of the definition. Section 8, membership shall institutionalize, organizational nature, and they shall consider the accredited college, post-secondary school branches, other entities, all defined in the accreditation criteria of the accreditation council, independent college and schools. Section 9, offices. The main offices of the accreditation college, independent college school shall be in Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. The accreditation independent colleges and schools have then other temporary permanent offices facilitate work. The office of corporation registered agent shall be the office of the accreditation council, independent colleges and schools. Section 10, the president of the accreditation council, independent colleges and schools shall be designated by the board of directors and shall be accreditation council, independent colleges and schools chief executive officer. Article 2, board of the directors. Section 1, composition. The board of directors shall become with the commissioner and the president of the president shall serve the ex officio as a member of the board, but they shall have no vote. Section 10, section 2, power of the duties, except otherwise provided by the law, but these by law of the board of directors shall have the right, the responsibility, to demand, the direct favor of the exercise of the power of the corporation. Responsibility of the board shall be to provide annual certified audit of the mandated letter regarding all the financial affairs of the accreditation council, independent colleges and schools, develop and improve the annual budget, oversee the revenue, expenditure, and investment. D, monitor and coordinate with external affairs, including government-owned consumer concerns. E, assure canons of the ethical business for the operation, personal conduct. F, the employ of the chief executive officer whose titles shall be president. G, the conduct annual meeting with the membership of the accreditation council, independent colleges and schools. Facilitate communication coordinated with among the commissioner. They coordinate strategic plan, effectiveness of the strategic plan, take a final action for the strategic plan. Assess the effectiveness of the accreditation, independent colleges and schools, fulfilling the mission, the meeting of the goals and objectives, of taking all the necessary to perform the required function of the corporation. And L, amending the bylaws as provided by herein. Section 3, officers and board officers for the council, the officer of the board of the shall be chair-elect, secretary, virtue, service of the president, treasurer, and the officer of the council shall be chair and chair-elect. All right, the chair of the council shall also serve the chair of the board of the director of the chair shall preside over all the meetings of the board of the council. The response for the seeing of the policy established action taken by the body for the carried out. The chair will represent the board and the council for dealing with the government body for the press and the public, and may sign and approve the correspondence with other instruments. B. Chair elect. The chair elect of the council shall also serve with the chair elected of the board of the chair elect shall assume the responsibility delegated with the board is absent for the chair shall serve with the chair of the board of the council will serve with the chair of the nominating committee shall serve with the chair of the board and the council in subsequent year. Secretary of the president serve the secretary of the board. The secretary responsible for preparing and maintaining custody of the meetings of all the meetings of the members of the boards and council for the purpose of authenticating record corporation of the overall given the notice required within accordance with the bylaws for the receiving the service of legal matters for the performing all duties of customary with the office of the secretary. The secretary shall have custody of the corporate seal and authority with respect to the seal of the instrument and requiring it. Treasurer. The treasurer shall be directly elected of the major majority of the directors presenting the vote duly the constituted meeting of the board. The treasurer shall keep and kept complete with the current count of the repair of the current account of the receipt of the disbursement shall be direct with the president to ensure that the deposit with all the money other available with the property of the corporation such a bank of the depository as is boards they designate the fund of the books of the vouchers by understanding the treasurer of the delegated of the person the exemption of the confidential report submitted with the members shall all meetings should all times be subject to verification and inspection of the board. The treasurer shall serve with the audit of the investment committee of the board of the director. The treasurer shall have the annual meeting with the members or other by direct mail the report of the financial condition of the corporation as at least once annually. Additional officers the board of the create the assistant treasury and assistant secretary as necessary to orderly conduct business. When authorized, the president shall appoint individuals from professional staff to fill such offices may assign with the appropriate duty to them. The president shall respond to all the filling of the vacancies occurring with the position terms except with the otherwise provided with the bylaw. If the other officers of the board and council shall serve the office in 1 year until the election successor in the exco officio as long as they hold the position within entitles them to serve the officer of the board or council. Article 3, Council. Composition. The Council should consider the elect with the appointment of the Commissioner generally with the representative of the members of the institution, appointment of the Commissioner at large with the unaffiliated with the member institution, the public representative form with the employer with the public institution, compromise of the 15 Commissioner for the set 5 of whom shall be elected for the membership and the balance of whom shall be appointed with the Council shall include the 2 academic representatives, 2 administrative representatives, academic representative and someone currently recently directly engaged with the significant matter post-secondary teaching of the research administrative representative defined with someone currently recently directly engaged in significant matter post-secondary institution problematic administration. At least there are 3 appointed of the customary commissioners that shall be public representative notwithstanding foregoing. An elected commissioner may be replaced and appointed the commissioner of the remainder of the elected commissioner term of the event vacancy. Section 2, Power and Duties. Responsibility of the Council shall be to promulgate the standard for the accreditation, establish the eligibility condition, policy, procedure for the accreditation, take final action for the initial grants of accreditation, take final action, denial, suspension, withdrawal of the motion, provide mechanism for the appeal of the review resolution to ensure the due process of the resolution conflicts between the power members of the Council to provide membership of the appropriate accreditation related to the service of the consolation accreditation process, workshop, the training opportunity, the evaluators, disseminate information for the standard procedure activity, monitor the compliance with the standard, receive the act on the other applications issue show cause of the directive the serve as liaison recognition agency for the body issue list for the accredited school colleges and schools organization assess the collected form of the members to take the final action for the strategic plan exercise other powers and duties incidental to the foregoing. Section 3, chair and chair elect. The chair of the council and the chair elect from the previous year of the council shall elect the chair and elect of the council and who will become the chair in the subsequent year annually by the majority of the vote of the commissioner presiding voting at a duly constituted meeting of the council. Article 4, election terms of vacancy, removal, resignation, composition. Section 1, elections. Election shall be held annually in the year for the election of the position must be filled with the selection of the person, each of whom serve for the elected commission for the council of the board. No person shall serve for the board, member of the board or not on the board, nor shall any person other than the president serve as a member of the board and not of the council. Eligibility for the election, voting of any person employed with a member institution, good standing meeting on only other eligibility criteria and able to run for the council of the board of the membership. Each of the main campuses entitled to designate delegate when they authorize vote for the election on behalf of the member of the institute as well as any other member of the matters reporting requiring a vote of members and appointing the designated delegated is made with the executive office of the institution notice writing academic accredited independent school of the multiple campuses under the common ownership of the representative of the owner one delegated design delegated with who shall empower the cast of the votes on behalf of each of the main campuses. Change of the designated delegate shall be made with a written at least 15 days prior to the end date of the scheduled election, and will become the recorded date of determining eligible vote results for the election shall be certified with the executive committee. Section 3, voting procedures. Specific election procedures concerning the candidate's qualification deadline with the registration date for the method of the balloting. Absent balloting shall be developed with the board and may vary with the election. Election with electronic voting properly secured shall be allowed with the following generals produced. They will apply with all the voting. There shall be no more than 2 candidates nominated for each elected position of the nominating committee. The nominations by the petition for each of the elected position will be permitted in such of the petition they received at least 45 days prior to the date of election, containing the name and the signature designated with the delegates representing at least 10% of the institution, member of the accredited council, independent college schools. 3, demonstrate that the petitioner satisfied the eligibility requirements contained in section 2 of the article, and 4, meets the other procedural requirements which may be established by the board. C, every member that is properly registered in the current with the financial obligation shall have the opportunity to vote. D, the proxy video voting is not permitted in the elections. E, that no matter the one person from the institution group of the institution commonly owned may serve at any time of the council voting on the behalf of the multiple members under the common ownership of the control of the designated person. Delegate may be permitted with the membership of the wide matter with multiple members represented with one designated delegate with the most record with the secondary power of the vote with the multiple members represented with a single designated delegate shall count toward the quorum only with the designated delegate of each of the member is eligible to vote. Voting shall be secret ballot, which includes the secret electronic balloting. Major voting, unless otherwise provided with the bylaws, shall decide non-candidate matters, and plurality vote shall decide all the candidate elections. Section 4, assumption of the office. No new commissioners shall assume the office on January 1st of the calendar year or such formula following election amendment of election or appointment unless otherwise provided with the council and with the commissioners remaining of office until the new commissioner is seated. Section 5, the term of the service of the commissioner shall be 5 years. The person elected for the appointment to fill the term of less than 2.5 years that is entitled to apply to the nomination election with the appointment to fill the term and open the complete compilation with the commissioner's term. The commissioner shall not be eligible to serve in another full term through election and appointment until 3 years have elapsed. However, the commissioner and appointment to be completed vacated in the term in full part with the non-subject of the 3-part waiting period. The commissioner who is elected for the office of chair of elect the following year of the commissioner term shall have the fully extended 1 year allowed to serve as the chair of the council to be filled. If nominated, public representative may be served with one additional appointment without 3 years waiting period. Section 6, vacancy. With the vacancy existing with the nominating committee shall review and make recommendations for the council in consideration. Or Section 7, resignation. Resignation of service of the commissioner or director may voluntarily tender at any time that the resignation becomes effective upon the receipt written over the chair of the board of the council with the president. Automatic tender of the resignation required with the following circumstances: the condition, denial, suspension, revocation, accreditation, institution when affiliated, necessitation, announced resuscitation of the operation of such institution, filling with the reorganization, bankruptcy in such institution, and parent corporation. Alright, Section 7, resignations. Resignation for the service of the commissioner or director may be voluntarily tendered at any time the resignation becomes effective upon receipt of written notice of the chair of the board and council of the president. Automatic tendering of the resignation is required under the following circumstances: denial, suspension, revocation, accreditation at the institution which is affiliated, cessation, announced cessation of operations such as the institution, filling organization, bankruptcy by each institution and parent corporation, Department of the U.S. Department of Education for employment and institution participation, federal student funding programs, incident of the criminal offenses, change of the control ownership of the institution which affiliated, failure of such institution to meet the financial obligation of accreditation, independent colleges and schools, which result in loss of membership, charge of employment status, other internal changes, designated delegated status, the commissioner employed by institution deemed to be under sustained serious scrutiny regarding non-compliance, accreditation, council, independent college student requirements. Note that all the foregoing necessary will result acceptance resignation, but must be considered by the council before service continue. Section 8, removal. Section 8, removal. The commissioner may also remove by not less than 2/3 of the vote of the council to each of any code of canon of the 10 of the FX that formally adopted and pursued by the laws. Compensation expenditures shall be served without compensation. Public representatives shall receive the honoraria for the service of such amount that the board shall fix. The commissioner as well as the member of the committee then provided with the advancement shall be reimbursed for the expenses incurred with the performance and authorized duties. Article 5, Committee. Standing Committee, Section 1, Standing Committee of the Council, 0, thereby standing of the Committee of the Council, the nominating committee, the nominating committee is responsible for screening nominees, the selecting candidates for election. Commissioner shall also identify the person qualified to appoint the commissioner, the recommended for the council to appointment. The nominating committee shall seek to maintain a council with generally representative of the type of the members in institution. Composition. The name of the complete with shall be appointed by the chair of the council that shall consist of the 5 members, at least 4 members, 4 of them whom are current commissioners, members of the representative of the non-degree granting institution has incurred. They should be the 2 representatives of the executive committee of the board of the directors, 1 person from an accreditation council, independent council, schools accreditation institute, who may or may not be a member of the council. The chair elected of the council of the board automatically serve the chair of the nominating committee. Procedure. The procedure for the Accreditation Council Independent College Schools shall be notified the Competition Committee invited to submit the name of the clarified nominee of the committee with the selection of the candidates to be mindful of the diversity of the program side of the type of the institution geographical presentation shall develop and publish all eligibility criteria permissible to campaign practice for the candidate and any special voting principles, procedures, and interviews for the nominees by committees are permitted. Business Practice Committee. The Business Practice Committee shall submit a list of commissioners appointed with the chair of the council for the board and the mission of the committee with the identifying of the pro and quality business practice of the career of the college and schools to ensure integrity, ethical relations to the foster cooperation among the institution on the behalf of the students and others served. Education Enhancement Evaluation Committee. The Education Enhancement Evaluation Committee shall consider for the commissioner appointed with the chair of the council of the board and the mission of the committee with establish standards for educational quality that assist the institution with the mission and fulfillment, program planning, development, institutional evaluation activities, successful educational outcomes. Financial Review Committee. The Financial Review Committee shall consist of the commissioners appointed with the chair of the council for the board, the mission of the committee with the manner of the financial stability of the accreditation institute in order to ensure the maintain sufficient financial resources to deliver quality education to the students. Institutional effectiveness of the committee. The Institutional Effectiveness Committee shall consider the commissioners appointed with the chair of the council for the board. The mission of the committee is to assist the institution with the improvement of the outcome, establishing and assessing criteria for the institutional effectiveness in order to accreditation and to assist the accreditation in council, independent college and schools. Accredited institutions must be established and standard. The committee shall review the campus accountability reports, institutional effectiveness plans, institutional outcomes and measurements. Standing Committee of Board of Directors. The following should stand being following Standing Committee of the Board. The Executive Committee. The Executive Committee shall consist of the Chairman of the Board of the Directors, shall serve as the Chair of the Executive Committee, the Chair of elected of the Board, who serve as the Chair of the Executive Committee, in the absence of the Chair of the Board, the Secretary of the Treasurer, 2 additional Directors, all elected annually to major vote of the Board. The Executive Committee acts on the behalf of the Board of the Council during the periods between the board and the council. Accurate meeting with each of the committee. The meeting of the shall provided with the board of the directors council. The next subsequent meeting with the board of directors of the council. Executive committees represented and shall be maintained with the board or council. Act issued required for the timing of the attention for the board of the council. Assume that other duties for the board of directors of the council may from time to time delegate executive committee. Audit Committee. The Audit Committee should consist of the minimum of 3 members of the board, including the treasurer, as well as the other members of the chair appointed. The committee shall work with the president to ensure annual certified audit with the organized financial activities of the committee. With the finding of the audit, this review of the action is taken to address the recommendation area of the concern identified as part of the audit process. Investment Committee. The Investment Committee shall consist of the president and a minimum of 3 members, other members of the board, including treasurer, such other members of the chair appoints. The Investment Committee shall work with the president to provide oversight with the Accreditation Council and independent colleges and schools. Investment funds. Investment Committee shall select investment advisor to develop an investment plan, review the investors' report at least annually. Governors Committee. The Governors Committee shall consist of the commissioner appointed with the chair of the council for the board. The mission of the committee is to ensure the Accreditation Council and independent college schools operate with the construction of the bylaws. The committee will evaluate and make recommendations to modification of the bylaws to respond to the proposed change of the standard operational policy of the Accreditation Council in the independent schools. Board of Ethics. The Board of Ethics shall consist of the 3 individuals selected for the board, consisting of the 2 independent public meetings, one member activated with accreditation, independent college and schools. The evaluation of the board will authority the review of the perceived actual conflict of the interest of the commissioner of the director to decide that the individual is directly resigned. Section 3, Other Committee. The Board of Directors may establish appointment of members to do on other HOC committees deemed necessary. Article 6, membership of the meetings. Membership, fees, and meetings. Game membership. Section 1, membership in the accreditation independent college schools and volunteer can only be obtained through the accreditation member of the institutional organization will provide education and training thereto. Hereto define each of the main branch campuses and with all the rights and privileges, assume all the obligation membership is provided with the laws. The term of the membership shall coexist with the accreditation laws. For the membership, the member may conceive the accreditation council independent college schools should automatically, without necessity of further action, be deemed to be removed from the membership that may be voluntarily resigned, which also results in loss of accreditation. Although obligation for the owed with the Accreditation Council and Independent College Schools, include payment of the fees, then shall be fulfilled prior to the recognition. Loss of the accreditation shall be retroactive to the day of the outstanding obligations has previously been fulfilled. Section 3, type of the fees. There are 3 types of fees: annual sustaining fees, 3 user service fees, and late fees. The annual sustaining fees shall be scaled forming the educational activity revenue generated with each member. The user fee shall relate to the cost of service requested for the actions initiated by the members. Applications for the membership and late fees shall be established by the council. Section 4, change in fee. The council may adjust the fees annually equivalently change to the National Consumer Price Index. Increase above the Consumer Price Index percentage shall be presented to the membership and approval. Section 5, conditions of the payment. Sustainment fees are due when the payable to October 31st, and council may authorize the discount sustaining fees received the September 30th each year. Non-payment annual fee by October 31st, subject matter of the automatic loss of the membership and loss of accreditation without hearing any requests. Extension time of the period when the periodic payment must be received and approved prior to September 30th. Payment plans will not exceed 31 beyond December 31st. Institution periodic payment shall be assessed with the interest rate of 1.5% per month on the balance paid. The user fee must accompany the request of the applicable service before the request will be processed. Section 6, proration of the fees. A member maintaining eligibility membership during the first month of the fiscal year shall pay the full amount of the annual sustaining fee for the applicable to member to become eligible during the succeeding month. Shall be proportionate amount of otherwise applicable fee to determine the number of the months remaining of the fiscal year, including the month of the membership is attained. Section 5, other costs. In addition with the fee for the here described and cost of the visit conducted with the council being invoiced in the institution. Section 8, assessment. The council, upon the majority of the may propose the assessment in addition with the annual sustaining fees provided for the article where there is a curve with the impending of the emergency with impair with the ability of the council to achieve the perfect amount of the annual dues and insufficient to meet the council requirement. The proposed assessment should be submitted to the member of the approval to disapprove of the majority of the vote. Section 9, annual meeting. The annual meeting. Meeting of the members shall be held annually at the date and place determined by the Board of Directors. Purpose of such of the meeting of the the report, the budget, finance, the accreditation, independent college council, service school, and the accreditation council, independent college and schools activated with the affair of the transaction, other businesses specified with the board, and the call for the notice of the meeting of the meeting combined with these businesses for the informational, educational season of the meeting of the board, for the councils, commissions, committees, and special events for the members. Section 10, special meeting. Special meeting for the members of the may be called by the board of directors upon the request of the majority of the board upon the petition of the board by not fewer than less than 50 members, the less 10% of the membership is not under the common ownership of the control. Section 11, notice of the meeting. Normal meeting members should be notified at least 30 days in advance for the date and location and time of the purpose of all the meeting for the members. The waive the notice for the may be recorded in any special meeting with all of the meeting members, majority with the vote of the quorum present, and to see such a meeting. Section 12, quorum. The 20% of the member eligible to vote represented with the designated delegates shall consist of the quorum to meeting the member of the transaction business, except that any issue the preceded notice for the call of the meeting that requires membership of the wide participation may not be acted upon under new business. The board director may adopt the procedure deemed necessary for the conduct of the business, and in absence of the established procedure, Robert rules of the order or shall apply. Section 3, meeting with the council. The council should convey the often necessary of the review and the materials attended with the accreditation process to take formal action of the accreditation status for the application. Section 7, appeals process. Section 1, review of the Board of Appeals. The review board of Appeals shall be appointed by the council. The purpose of the review board shall review according to the pre-established procedure guidelines applied with the film and negative actions by the council in each of the case to affirm the action of the council to remand the case of the council for the review to amend the overturn of the action. The review board shall consist of 15 persons, all of whom would experience the accreditation. Review board shall include at least 2 academic representatives, 2 administrative representatives, 3 public members, and defined with Article 3 in Section 1. The here review board panel will consist of a minimum of 3 members and be comprised of at least 1 public member, 1 academic, 1 administrative representative. Members of the review board shall be appointed on the term of the 3 years of the term is of the initial appointment staggered so that 1/3 of the terms expire each year. The person appointed by the review board shall not have been a commissioner without 1 year of the appointment. The president shall convey with a timely manner of the review of the board necessary. Section 2, Due Process. Criteria promulgated by the Council shall ensure that the institution provided with a fair and reasonable opportunity to permit the reason for the denial, suspension, withdrawal, other final actions taken with the Council and appropriately should be remanded for the further consideration. Due process provided within an appeal of the Review Board pursuant to the procedures described in 23604. The appeals of the Review Board of the Appeals shall be recorded and shall provide with the submission brief, the oral testimony, institutional representatives. Section 8, Miscellaneous. Section 1, Liability. No applicable member of the form of the members shall be liable to death for the Accreditation Council Independent College Schools of any with the amount except with the extent of the reasons required for each for the member pursuant to the Article 7, Section 3, and 8 hereof. Section 2, Corporate Seal. The corporate seal shall be in such a manner for the form then approved by the Board of Directors. Section 3, Checks, Notes, and Contracts. Board of Directors shall determine the person who will authorize the corporation on behalf of the sign with the draft, the other board payments of that money with the signed acceptance for the note, the other note on evidence of the indebtedness, and enter the contract to execute, the deliver the documents, and instrument the person for the position will designate the board of approval by governed by policy document. The Board of Directors shall, in discretion, require officers, agents, employees, other person authorized pursuant to this section to give the security for the full performance of the duties. Section 4, Books and Records. The corporation shall keep the office record, correct and complete books of the record of the account with the transaction for the corporation concerned, list of the member, the director of the officers, corporation, such books and records in the written for any other form of the capable of ready for version of the written form. Section 5, Confidentiality. The Council shall maintain confidential of the accreditation process with the members insofar that permitted with the accreditation criteria, law, and regulation. The Council shall have the written policies, disclosure, information for the third parties. Section 6, Identification and Insurance. The corporation shall identify hold harmless for each of the director, officer, commissioner, member of the appeal board for the visiting, with the aim of the management, with the employee, other person that acts with the behalf of the corporation over the council against the form all costs of the expense of the reasonable incurred by each of the such person in payment of the defense and settlement of any of the claim suit and proceeding through against such person before because they were related to the person part of the behalf of the Accreditation Council, Independent Colleges and School, the Council, the Review Board, the Director, Officer, Commissioner, the Member of the Appeals, the Board Member of the Visiting Team, Agent, with employee. These rights are specified with the section apply with whether or not the person continues to act in such a capacity at the time he lost costs or expense for the incurred. Such rights shall not apply to relation to the detention of any matter of which may be any such person shall finally be indulged by libel with willful misconduct. The board of directors will authorize the purchase, maintenance, and insurance of the behalf of such person, the corporation, against the liability that arises of these actions in such capacities. Section 7 Amendment. The bylaw of the corporation may be amended to the board of directors with the majority vote of all the directors. Dissolution. Accreditation Council Independent College Schools shall use its fund for the accomplishment of the object of the purpose set forth in these bylaws. No part of the said fund shall incur to be distributed to the members of the Accreditation Council Independent College School. The dissolution of the Accreditation Council Independent College Schools, any funds shall remain distributed with one or more regularly organized, qualified, charitable, educational, scientific, philanthropic organization to be selected by the board of directors. Section 9 Official year. The official year of the Accreditation Council Independent College School shall be July 1st through June 30th. Article 9, litigation, jurisdiction, venue, and expenses. Suit against the Accreditation and Independent Council, jurisdiction, exhaustion, administrative remedy for the jurisdiction, venue, and any suit of the claim for the proceeding, the relation of the membership, the accreditation status for the claim with the amendment, damage for the injunction, for the declaratory relief brought for the accredited member, the former member, of the applicant for the membership of the accreditation status for the Accreditation and Independent Council, the College of Schools, of the Council, the Review Board, the Commissioner of the Office of the Commissioner of the Review Board, the member, the staff member acting on his or her official capacity shall only be in the U.S. District Court of the Eastern District of the Virginia, Alexandria District of the Circuit Court of the City of Alexandria, Virginia. Accredited with the member, the four member of the application must exhaust all the administrative remedies provided with the Accreditation Council and Independent College Schools criteria bylaws for initiating any suit in the proceeding of the court. Section 2, Reimbursement. Reimbursement of the Accreditation Council of the Independent College Schools litigation expense. The application for the membership of the member, the form of the member of the Accreditation Council of the Independent College Schools shall reimburse the Accreditation Council of Independent College Schools for all the costs and expenses, including attorney fees actually reasonably incurred by the Accreditation Council of Independent College Schools, the dependent in any of the suit and proceeding with whether the damage of the injunction for the declaratory relief of the application member, the form of the member, the one more person, the former students, any of the progressing Accreditation Independent College Schools, the Council of the Review Board, the Commissioner of the Council, the members of the Review Board, officers employed with the agents of the Accreditation Independent College School Schools, the Council of the acting of the official of the capacity of the Accreditation Independent College and Schools, the Council, the Review Board, the Commissioner of the officer employed, the agent shall be judged to be the prevailing party in the suit and the claim of the proceeding. Section 3, other expenses. Each member shall reimburse the accreditation independent college school for all the costs and expenses, including the attorneys incurred by the protection of any corporation for the council record relating to such of the membership, the response to the law request for the parties and litigation from the state of the federal agency. Section 4, binding effect. Each of the existing member, the new member for the accreditation independent college school should provide with a copy of the bylaws, except for the Constitution. Acceptance of the continuation of the membership of the accreditation independent college school shall consist of each of the member of the agreement to bound with the provisions by the bylaws. They may be amended from the time to time, while the member of the subsequent termination membership of the accreditation independent college school. Each application membership of the accreditation independent college school should provide with a copy of the bylaws of the application member of the accreditation independent college school shall continue such application agreement to be bound with the provision of the bylaws the amended from time to time, regardless of whether such application must be amended with accreditation independent college school boards. Appendix B, procedure guidelines, unannounced visits.